Thursday, guys. Welcome to another edition of Puck Time. Andrew is on vacation, as you guys already know, stepping into his co-hosting chair. It is the Prez and today's guest, Brian Leonard. And, if Brian Leonard's on the show, we are going to talk the Vegas Golden Knights. We're also going to talk the Montreal Canadiens, Boston Bruins, Tampa Bay, and Ottawa. And, of course, we're going to finish it off with Winnipeg and the Vegas Golden Knights. All teams, with the exception of course, the Boston Bruins, all teams playing for something at the moment, but that doesn't mean that we can't discuss Boston. We've had so many comments in our comment section of, please cover the Bruins, please cover the Bruins. Here you go, guys. We're covering the Bruins. Let's bring in the guys. Prez, you are off a rocking chair, 5% winner yesterday with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Might not have been a rocking chair, but you were rocking the chat group last night with your 5%. How are you?
I am great, Carm. What a crazy night. I was screaming like a lunatic at the TV in the last few minutes. I was, get it out, get it out. Anyway, it was a crazy game, but yeah, we cashed the 5%. Shout out to all my clients who purchased that play. Wow. What an NHL run. What a season. Got one more going tonight. It's a small play, but I like it. And I'm excited to be doing this. Thanks, brother.
Being a married man, Prez's wife yells out, get it out all the time as well.
Yes. When the girth, okay. Let's move on.
Brian, I love it. Brian woke up and chose violence this morning. I'm absolutely loving it. He's rocking the Vegas Golden Knights hat as well, too. Prez, you're having a fantastic NHL season. Brian, a good season as well, too, and lifetime. Brian, I think the #1 guy over at WagerTalk. So I'm just happy to be with you guys here, and hopefully some of those winners carry over into my streak. But with that said, guys, we got to talk Montreal Canadiens, Boston Bruins. Doing the notes for this show last night, all I could think of was, I don't think I can remember a time the Montreal Canadiens were minus 195 against anyone, let alone the Boston Bruins, Brian, who have beaten Montreal in 14 of their last 15 meetings. It's unbelievable. Boston's 14-1 their last 15 meetings with Montreal, including 6 of 7 in Montreal. And I get it. This year is a little different. Boston is out of the playoffs. I think they've lost 12 of their last 14 games, but they did beat Tampa Bay. They did beat Florida. So they were competitive against Washington, still got the loss. They got to be a live dog here, I would think. I just can't lay $1.95 with the Montreal Canadiens. They're in a playoff spot at the moment, but that doesn't mean the back-to-back wins over Florida. But prior to that, they had lost 4 straight as well, too. So it's not as if they're coming in completely confident and secure of where they're going to be come playoff time. How do you break this one down, and are the Bruins a live dog for you?
Yeah, first off, Prez brings out my giddy side. I think every time I try to do something with Prez, I try to make him laugh. But it's a shame that Andrew isn't here, because this would seem to be your typical Montreal Canadian game, the game that everybody expects them to win, and nobody has the balls to lay a $2 favorite on them. You look at Boston, they've been really bad over the last month of 5-on-5 expected goal share, 40.23, which is the worst in the league. Montreal sits at 47.51, so they're not tearing it up either. The Bruins are now the lowest point total in the Eastern Conference. Who would have thought that? And that'd have been a good long shot bet coming into this season, as Boston's been so consistent over the years, and we could have made some money on that, but I didn't see it coming. As you mentioned, Montreal continues to fight for the final playoff spot, try to hold off 4 other squads. This is a situation where the lines makers are making you pay for these teams that need to win. And I spoke to Marco about this the other day. We were having lunch, and he says, man, these lines are high. I says, yeah, they're really going to make you pay if you're playing the teams that need to win. They're looking for their first victory of the season over the Bruins. And as you mentioned, Boston has completely owed them over the years. Boston rides a 9-game losing streak into this contest, and yet I'm not lining up to bet on Montreal. They've won 2 in a row, Montreal has, but it's tough to lay this type of number with the Canadiens. Boston's in full tank mode. Will it continue here? The way I'm looking at this one is I don't think the Boston offense is going to score many goals in this one. I think Montreal's going to win this with defense. So I'm going to play the Boston team total under 2.5 at -125. That's the way I'm going to take a look at this one. And hopefully Montreal gets this win, 2-1, 3-1, and Andrew's happy and the Montreal fans are happy. But it's tough to lay Montreal in this situation.
Yeah, Montreal right now, or Andrew right now is down in Florida. So maybe he's wearing his "We Want Florida" jersey because they seem to be getting wins against Florida and nobody else. We'll see what they do tonight. But I can't lay $1.95. It just seems like the obvious thing here is bet Montreal because the Bruins are playing horrible. But there's something between these two teams when they get together. And if the Bruins put in a similar effort that they did against the Washington Capitals, even though they lost that game 4-3, it could be enough to get the win here. Before I go to Prez on this game, I want to mention something, guys. We are at 198,888 subscribers at the moment. We are just short of 200,000 subscribers. We want you guys, if you haven't already done so, please hit that subscribe button. Let's get us to over 200,000 subscribers. And once we do, I will run some contests for some PuckTime swag. So if you guys want to get your hands on some of that stuff, hit that not only hit the like button and comment, but hit the subscribe button. More importantly, get us over that 200,000 subscriber list. Prez?
Yes, my brother.
You remember when we hit 100,000? YouTube sends you that nice 100K platinum kind of
I remember
on the wall. 200K would be just as good.
Yeah, I remember when we hit 1. So this is a very exciting thing for us. 200,000 closing in, and but we got to get over the hump, Carm. We've been stuck under 200,000 for a little while now. So let's go, everybody. Help us out. Help us get over that 200,000 hump. As for the Boston-Montreal game, Carm, this is, for me, I like Boston in this spot. Now, I agree with everything that Brian Leonard said. And yes, I think the Boston team, are they tanking? Yes. Have they lost 9 in a row? Yes. Do they suck? Yes. Can they score? No. Do they allow a whole lot of goals in? Yes. With all that said, this is a bet against Montreal. Now, I love what Montreal has done this season. Incredible. Fighting for a playoff spot. Just came off 2 victories against Florida, and the last one was absolutely gripping. Florida was winning 2-1 with 6 seconds to go on the clock. Montreal ties it up, the captain with a goal, and then he scores again in overtime to win. However, this is a team that was in a playoff position 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, when they had gone on a huge run. And then they proceeded to lose 5 straight games. So we have already seen Montreal climb into a playoff spot only to then lose 5 games straight. They lost to the Islanders, Colorado, St. Louis, Philadelphia, and Carolina. So Montreal has already demonstrated that must-win games are not games that they win. Sure, they beat Florida twice, but I think on a whole that this is just a horrible spot for this Montreal Canadian team. The win was emotionally draining, and just when you think they've climbed the mountain, they fall. I don't love Boston here, but at plus 165, they own this Montreal team. I think it's a letdown spot for Montreal, even though there shouldn't be letdown spots in this moment. And out of great love for Brian Leonard and his ability to pick live dogs, I like Boston plus 165.
All right. This we're already getting some comments. Who picked these games? Why are we talking about the Bruins and the Canadiens? Well, the Canadiens are relevant because they are in a playoff spot, in a wild card spot. So it's an important game, and one in which I feel we would get the opinions that we got on this one, which a little bit split. But the fact that Montreal shouldn't be priced as high as they are, and that's the info we're trying to bring to you guys at times. Instead of telling you to bet a minus 350 game where we all agree on it, let's give you a game that there could be a live dog on, and we'll see at the end of the night if that comes to fruition. But with that said, a game, Prez, that is taking a lot of money over the last hour, Tampa Bay and Ottawa. Tampa opened minus 120. It was at 135 a mere 25 minutes ago, and now it's up to 140, 145 at some books. I saw Circa go to 150 at one point on Tampa Bay. I'm leaning, this is a client play as well, too, and it's up as a free play on the WagerTalk site, one of my 3 plays for tonight. I'm leaning Tampa Bay in this spot, minus 135, 23 goals over this 4-game win streak for them. They are in the running for that number 1 seed. Everyone's focused on Florida. Everyone's focused on the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're 3 points back of the Leafs with a game in hand. A win here will put them a point back, and they've still got to play Toronto again.
Yes.
I'm taking Tampa in this one, Prez, and I'm going to throw a prop bet out for you guys. Jake Gunsel, over 2.5 shots on goal. This is a guy who's averaged about 2.7 shots on goal per game. But over his last 10 games, he has averaged 3.4 shots per game. He's gone over this number, I believe, 7 of the last 10 games. And he's one of the guys on the number 1 power play unit. So if there's any penalties tonight, you know he's going to be on that unit. You know he's going to get some shots on goal. Over 2.5 shots on goal. Jake Gunsel tonight for Tampa Bay as a prop bet. Prez, how you breaking this one down?
You know, Carm, I really looked at this game. I did a big dive into it because it was going to be one of my client release. I backed out. I did release something else instead. But I like the under in this hockey game. And a shout out to Vasilevsky's turned his season around, really started off horribly at the beginning of the year. Since February 1st, he's the number 1 goalie in the league. He's got a 1.81 goals against average. He just held the New York Islanders to 1 goal. And if you go and take a look, sure, the New York Islanders put up 3 in their first matchup, but Tampa Bay has held their opponents to 1-3-0-1. So they have allowed a grand total of 5 goals in their last 4 hockey games. Now, I understand their scoring, but man, they're playing a Vezina winner in Linus, and Ottawa's got Ottawa is playing well defensively. Sure, they let Buffalo put up 5, but the last time they allowed a team to put up 5, they came back and held New Jersey to 2. I think if you look at Ottawa, this is a heavy team, a grinding team, a team that's sort of following their captain's makeup, if you will. This is a team that wants to play to the under. They've done it all year, 30, 36, and 8 to the under. Tampa Bay is a under machine of late. Well, not of late. They've gone over like many times, 5 in a row, but in the last 2-3 months. I like the under 6 here, Carm. I think we're going to see a low-scoring hockey game. I think Ottawa is going to be able to keep Tampa Bay down, and I know Tampa Bay will keep Ottawa from getting 3. So under 6 for me.
All right. I get it. Bri, I always talk about, you look at the sharp books sometimes to get an idea of what the right play could be or who the right money is on. And you look at Pinnacle, you look at Circa, and Circa is on the WagerTalk live lines. You can find that there. And then, guys, also Odds Logic. You guys got to check out Odds Logic as well, too. A great platform as well, too, for odds changing quickly, and obviously any injury reports come through on there. But Circa, the highest price right now on Tampa Bay is at Circa 151, minus 151 on Tampa Bay. They are taking money. And when Circa moves a line, I think, Brian, and I hope you agree with me here, you have to take note.
I take note anytime a short place moves, but I got to be honest with you. I've done pretty well against the Circa numbers this season. Very similar expected goal share numbers over the last 30 days and 5-on-5 play. The Lightning come in at 50.01. Sens 49.66. So very similar there. Tampa, as you mentioned, they're currently 93 points, just 1 point ahead of Florida for that last home ice advantage in the East. So it's a very important game for Tampa. The host has won all 3 meetings this season. So that gives you a little bit here on Ottawa. But Tampa's riding a 4-game winning streak. Ottawa's dropped 2 straight. This is second of 4 straight home games for the Senators, who play just 1 road game the entire month of April. So if Ottawa does not make the playoffs, it's their own fault. They've got the schedule set up. Or if they don't make it, it's all on them. They've got so many home games.
Yeah.
I originally wanted Tampa here, but I've lost my line. I can't play it at the current number that it is right now. Actually, at this number, I'm leaning a little bit with Ottawa. I won't get involved. I'm actually passing for clients today. But one of the things when you're betting in sports is you've got to pay attention to the numbers. And if the numbers are not there, you can't force a play. And that's what gets people in trouble. It was great if you had Tampa before the line move. Now you're priced out. You either don't play Tampa, you play Ottawa, or you find another game to play.
And Brian, listen, I agree with you. When I see a line overnight, even if I don't get the write-up done, I don't post it up for sale, but I get it out to my clients, and I will put in the section where the analysis is, play this game now, because this line is going to move. And I want them to get the better number. And if it moves too much, it becomes no play. I've had a couple of 5% plays last month that I had to take down because I put them up a day early and they were 5.5s. And I said, these lines are going to move. And they both went to not just 6, they went to 6.5 on game day, and both ended up winning regardless, 9 goals and 10 goals in the other game. But do you want your clients playing a game at 6.5 when you like the over, or at 5.5, the opening number that comes out so that you can get it to them and it's likely not going to move for 12 to 14 hours? I want them to play the 5.5 because it lands on 6 and they have won. If you play it at 6.5, you're going to lose if it lands on 6. So that's one of the great things with having a long-term subscription. And the Prez has talked about this. Dave Koken, God bless his soul, I used to talk about this. Get the play the minute we release it, as opposed to buying it like 10 hours later, and you may get a worse line, kind of like what you're saying right now, Brian. With that said, we're going to move on to the third game, and then I'm going to throw a bonus game at you guys that I didn't mention today in our group, but we'll get to it anyways, the Columbus and Colorado game shortly. But Winnipeg and Vegas. Vegas minus 125, Winnipeg plus 105. Brian, I'm going to go to you first on this one because you're always the guy I go to with the Vegas Golden Knights games. 9 straight wins over Winnipeg by the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas also, because they're off a loss to the Edmonton Oilers at home, they are 7-2 this season off a home loss in their next home game. Minus 125 seems like a short price. How you playing this one?
Yeah, right now it's a timid play for me. Hurdle and Pietrangelo. Hurdle played yesterday, practice yesterday in a non-contact jersey. Pietrangelo going to be a game-time decision. So without knowing if either of those are playing, it's tough to make a call here. You look over the last 30 days, 5-on-5 play, expected goal share numbers. Winnipeg's been excellent, 56.79. Vegas 51.70. But the Golden Knights power play has just been fantastic. They've been terrific in that regard. So if you commit penalties against Vegas right now, they're going to score on you. That's just the way it is, and it hasn't been that way for a long time in Vegas. It's been a few years since they've had a power play as good as the one they have here. The Knights won both meetings so far this year, but both single goal margins. Vegas, a 6-game winning streak was snapped Tuesday in a 3-2 home loss to Edmonton. And it was one of those games that Edmonton needed more than Vegas did, and it showed. Vegas did not have that good of an effort on the ice. Both teams are missing some key players here. I mentioned the 2 from Vegas. Without those game-time decisions, it's hard to make a play, but I think this game goes under. It's a very important game for Winnipeg. Not only, it's rare you get a team that's in a better place in the standings, that it means more to them. But as you mentioned, they've had a real hard time with Vegas, and they're losing their lead in the in the West, Dallas is catching up to them. So it's a more important game for Winnipeg than it is for Vegas. And so I think the way Vegas is playing defensively, they're playing great. I'm going to play this game under 5.5, and we'll see what happens as the day goes on and see who's going to play and who's not. But as of right now, it's a pass for me, but leaning towards the under.
Listen, I can see that. And Prez, you look at the standings. Winnipeg 106 on 75 games. Dallas 74 games, 4 points back, 102, and they do play the Winnipeg Jets one more time this season. Vegas 74 games as well too, 8 points back of Winnipeg. So a win with a game in hand. A win tonight moves them to 6 back with a game in hand. It's tougher for them because they've got to leapfrog the Dallas Stars as well too. But this Vegas team, by no stretch of the imagination are they out for the number 1 seed. They could run the board, win their last 8 games, and win that number 1 seed. Minus 125 or plus 105. Are you getting enough on Winnipeg to take them tonight? You're muted.
Sorry, I had a sneeze. I don't like Winnipeg in the spot. I actually like Vegas here, but like Brian, I prefer the under as well. I think this game is going to be a low-scoring affair. I mean, Jesus, you got Connor Hellebuyck in net. So good. Winnipeg off of allowing 4 goals to the LA Kings. Before that, they held Vancouver to 1. They held New Jersey to 0, Washington to 2. And this Winnipeg team, they're just not getting shots on net. 20 shots on net against the Kings, 27 against Vancouver, 19 against New Jersey, 25 against Washington. I mean, this team regularly puts up around 20 to 22 shots a game. You're not going to score more than 2 goals on a regular basis if that's all you're shooting. And Vegas right now is a team that is playing unbelievably defensively. Sure. Edmonton put up 3 on them. Before that, Nashville won. They've held teams to 2 or less on almost every second game for the last little while. And they, too, are getting a low amount of volume on the net. I'm with Brian here. I'm not going to get deep into this, but I like the under in this game as well, and I lean on Vegas.
So here's a prop bet. Would you take this one, Prez, when we're talking about parlays? And I know you're not a big parlay guy. So if the Bruins are a live dog tonight, plus 160, plus 165, the Vegas Golden Knights, their last 16 wins at home, not last 16 games, but their last 16 wins, they have covered the puck line as well too. And given that the regular line is minus 125, you're going to get a juicy price on the puck line on the Vegas Golden Knights tonight. Would you take those two together? Because that would probably give you somewhere in excess of about 7-1 odds, I would think. Plus 165 and a plus 185.
I don't parlay, so ask Brian.
I don't either.
Sorry, fine guys.
Oh, come on.
Fine
okay,
guy.
you guys in the.
I know.
Right.
I know you're not going to ask Dave Hogan. If he was here, he'd tell you the same thing.
25% of all bets in America wagered were parlays last year, and they accounted for just under 60% of the money made by the sports books. If you want to burn your money, go ahead. I don't burn money ever. I do not parlay, but I appreciate you asking that question.
Unless you're Andy Lang, you can text
uh,
Andy Lang because he crushes it on parlays.
Hey, Andy is a parlay god.
Yeah.
He's figured
He
it
is.
out. He understands something. I am not going to sit here and say, nobody who's ever parlayed, can make money. Andy has come up with a way to make money parlaying. Kudos to Andy. I love the guy.
To your point, Prez, when you hear people talking about parlays, they're talking about 7-leggers that are plus 10,000. The way that Andy does it is just to bring really good prices down, and his final prices typically are, like minus 120 and stuff. So to your point, the lottery ticket stuff is what the books want. You know what I mean?
Yes, except
Yeah, it's,
2 team parlays paid on regular juice, 2-team parlays are worse mathematically than 3-team, 4-team, 5-team.
Yeah.
So
3-team.
the bigger 3-team parlays are the closest to true odds out of any parlay out there. So these guys are making 2-team parlays, which pay 2.6 to 1. They should pay 4 to 1. A 3-team parlay pays 6 to 1. It should pay 8 to 1. It's a more effective parlay to make. So amazing. You know my feelings about Andy Lang. I think Andy Lang is one of the savviest, best bettors on the planet. There is a reason I have him on WagerTalk Today every day and on the Blue Line. I think the guy is unbelievable. I can't figure out how to win betting parlays, and nor can 99% of the people.
Okay, so with that said, and Andy is, yes, indeed a god. That's why he named his first little boy Parlay. But with that said, plus 655 on that Bruins and Vegas Golden Knights 2-team parlay plus 655 on your money if you take it. We'll see, and we'll talk about it on tomorrow's show. But before that, Prez, unscripted, I am throwing this one to you. The Columbus Blue Jackets and the Colorado Avalanche. Avs on the second of a back-to-back. They somehow squeak out a win yesterday and get it to OT and get the points against Chicago. But minus 160 opener, dropped to 140. You guys know my feelings on Columbus. I want them to make the playoffs because I think they're an exciting team that can score goals. At first thought was the over, but these two teams actually on the season, they're under, their numbers are pretty much negligible. The under is slightly profitable for both sides. What would you take in this game?
Well, I mean, listen, I got to tell you, I would take nothing, which as far as I'm concerned is a bet. A no bet is a bet. If a gun was held to my head, I would take the over in this game, Carm. And ultimately, look, you could always sort of count on Columbus going over 42, 29, and 2 to the over. They just played a game 8-4 against Nashville. This Columbus team cannot stop the puck. They allowed 4 against Nashville, 3 against Ottawa, which is a lot, 6 against Vancouver, which is insane, 3 against the New York Islanders, 6 against Pittsburgh. One thing you can count on is the opponent putting up 3+ against Columbus, but this Columbus team can score. 8 against Nashville, 7 against Vancouver, 4 against the Islanders. They've been shut out once in the last 6 games. They had a horrible stretch of about 8 games where they really couldn't find the net. Since then, they are rocking and rolling. They just put up 37 shots on Nashville, 30 on Ottawa, 38 on Vancouver, 30 on the New York Islanders, 47 on Pittsburgh. Plus, we know one thing, Colorado can score, and they can play any type of game. They play Winnipeg, they can win 2-1. They play Columbus, they can win 8-7. I like the over in this game.
All right. We got your opinion on it. You get Brian's. And look, Dan got the graphics. I just threw him a curveball. And this guy has the graphics up for Columbus and Colorado for us to make it look that much better. That's why I'm taking the lead on Dan's bachelor party this year, Prez. So hopefully you're coming. We're gonna have it in Vegas. I've got a table booked at the Spearmint Rhino. I hear good things about their food. With that said, Brian, what are your thoughts on this game?
There. Have a good time.
Yeah, I won't be. Yeah, you could go to the Spearmint Rhino by yourself.
It's just gonna be Carm sitting at a table by himself.
That was what he wanted.
Anyway.
That's what he wanted anyway.
Who is eating this charcuterie platter and these pitchers of beer that I just ordered? I guess it's all on me and maybe Marco. Although Marco
charcuterie at the Spearmint Rhino, Carm, that's on you.
Prez,
that's on you.
I have to say, Prez, because you weren't on the show. I absolutely love Brian. I saw a video of Brian out with Marco and I think it was Marco, Sig, and Lori. And Marco ordered a drink. and Brian just cracks open a beer and he's staring at Marco while he has this drink. Brian, what was the name of that drink again?
I think it was "Go Blow Yourself" or something to that effect.
Yeah. That sounds like
I'll
something.
tell you, if I was hosting this show, I would be in trouble already. That's that.
Yes.
Anyway,
All right. With that said, Brian,
you guys
give me your
can
thoughts
discuss
on,
this stuff, but
Colorado and
me, nope,
Columbus.
nope.
I will
tried to drag him into the mud, but I couldn't.
I will take a look at this Colorado Columbus game, and I'll look at it a little differently. As you mentioned, money's come in on Columbus here, and I had talked about this before. The teams that need to win, they've been taking the money. Colorado needs to win this game too. They're currently sitting in fourth in the Western Conference. That would be a home ice in the first round. The Kings are only 3 points behind them, and the Kings have 2 extra games to play so far. The team behind them, Edmonton, has 2 extra games in hand to play against Colorado to move up on Colorado. So Colorado needs this game, and nobody's paying any attention to it. The line is short because of that. I'm not big on playing teams in the second of a back-to-back, but Colorado's the better team here. And as much as I like Columbus, I mean, Cleveland doesn't have a team. Columbus is the team I root for, being an Ohio native. I'd love to see Columbus win, but you're not getting full value in the number now that the line has moved. If I had to play it at all, I'd play Colorado, but I won't, as I'm passing today. But just because the line moved there and the team needs to win it does not mean you're going to get the victory.
All right. Respect that decision. Brian, I'm going to go to you first. What do you have up at WagerTalk today across all sports? And give us a show best bet.
I have nothing. I'm going to be passing today. I'm under the weather, and I've been struggling in baseball early in the season, even though I'm more prepared in baseball than I've ever been. It's just been one of those weeks. I have not had a lot of success, and my best play is the under in the Vegas game, but I'm not giving that to clients either, is because there's too many unknowns at this point. That's my best bet on the show today is the under, and it makes me feel better that the Prez agreed on that. So that's what I'm standing on today, the under in the Vegas game, and we'll see who ends up playing. But Aiden Hill will be in goal as the backup. Samsonov is injured, so they don't want to go into the playoffs without Samsonov. So let him get healed up a little bit, and we'll go with the under in that game tonight.
All right, Brian, I appreciate you coming on, especially because I know you're under the weather. If you're feeling better later, toss me a text. You are more than welcome to come on tomorrow's show as well, too, if you want to. I'll leave that up to you. Prez, what do you have up at WagerTalk off that 5% winner last night? Congrats once again, and give us a show play.
Yeah, brother. I got one NHL play up for my clients right now. I will have NBA and Major League Baseball up a little later. And again, I'm rolling out a winning night for my clients last night. That's 5 winning nights out of the last 6, 12 out of the last 13 out of the last 17. Absolutely dominating in sport betting right now. I'm very excited about it. Absolutely. I love when I get on these runs. Anyway, I got one NHL play up. As for my show best bet, man, Carm, I just feel like Montreal is going to lay an egg tonight. I really, really do. I like Boston plus 165.
All right. Best of luck to you. You know, Prez, when we talk about live dogs, before I get into mine first, my play for a second, you know, we had a show about, I think it was 2 weeks ago, where Tampa was coming back from a East Coast or West Coast trip. And I just thought a ton of travel. I thought Pittsburgh could be a live dog in this one. And before you knew it, it was like 5-0 Tampa Bay, 30 minutes into the game. So live dog, yeah, not the way I thought. But, you know, I think the Bruins will give the Canadiens a tough time tonight. So we'll see if that happens. Anytime a team is 14-1, their last 15 games against another team, you have to pay note to that, in 6 of 7 in their arena as well, too. No plays in soccer today. It is a pretty much a dead day in Europe. but tons of action coming this weekend. 3 plays up in the NHL tonight. One of them you got already, a client play, and it is the show best bet as well too. Tampa minus 135. As I said, this team is rolling right now. 4 straight wins, 23 goals across those 4 wins, going into Ottawa, and the Sabres went into Ottawa and laid a bit of a beating on the Senators. I think Tampa Bay could do the exact same thing. The line, I think, the movement this morning kind of agrees with it. So the 135 was the opening number, and that is where I'm at here. So minus 135 on Tampa Bay. Guys, remember to hit that like button, drop a comment in the comment section below. We'll be back on Friday. It's Prez and I, and Brian, if he chooses to join us, we'll have the 6 and 60 segment, of course, for Saturday. See if we can build off of last week's 4 and 2, 6 and 60. But for myself, Dan Alexander, our producer, the Prez and Brian Leonard, this is Puck Time. Thanks for watching, guys. Good luck with your plays, and we'll see you tomorrow.